Hello, and welcome to my review of WWE Survivor Series 2022. The show kicked off with the traditional opening video package featuring Ozzy Osbourne as a Black Sabbath song was the song of the night. It was a good video package. It's always a good video package. It's not really a noteworthy comment, really, is it, that a video package in WWE was good? That's always been one of their absolute strong points. There's been the video packages throughout the shows. So, yeah, it was good. First match, that's what we're here for, was the Women's War Games match. So this was the standard heels outnumbering sort of situation where every time a new member came in, it was either a heel to put the heels one member up, or it was a face to even up the odds kind of thing, until obviously Becky Lynch came out, and that was everyone on both teams. There's some fun big spots in the match. Io Sky did a moonsault off the cage. I found Bianca and Becky's teamwork to be lots of fun. Like, I can't remember exactly who was which, but someone escaped out of the KOD and then ended up getting manhandle slammed, and then someone else escaped the manhandle slam and ended up getting KOD'd. It was pretty good fun. In the end, I think it was Io Sky and Dakota Kai ended up on a table, I believe, just sharing a table, and Becky Lynch dropped a leg drop off the top of the cage onto both of them and pinned, I think it was Dakota Kai, for the win. I actually predicted the heel team, Bayley's team, to pick up a win here to set up Bianca's next challenger, but I guess not. Like, maybe they're going to go with face Becky versus face Bianca as a bit of a different way to do this. I don't know. But yeah, I was quite surprised when the good guys won, but we'll see what they do with this going forwards. So I predicted Bayley's team to win, so I am 0 out of 1 so far on this show. But you know what? That's fine. It was a good match, good opener, good choice for opener, and I think bookending the show with the two War Games matches is always the right way to go here. So yeah, there we go. That was a good opener for sure. Up next we had a bit of build-up of the Sami Zayn Kevin Owens relationship, like a bit of a recap, if you like, of what's been going on lately, and just their general friendship, with Kevin Owens obviously trying to talk Sami Zayn into turning on the Bloodline before they turn on him, and then you get Jey Uso snitching on Sami Zayn to Roman Reigns to finish off the segment, letting Reigns know that he'd been talking to Owens and then lied to Jey Uso about it. Up next was Finn Balor versus AJ Styles, with their respective factions at ringside, or most of them. I did make a note, there was no Rhea Ripley or Mia Yim. I think they were advertised to be ringside for the match, but obviously they just had the Women's War Games match, so it would have been a little bit of a no-sell, wouldn't it, to then just be like stood at ringside, you know, being fine after going through all that. So yeah, Styles just had Gallows and Anderson at ringside, and Balor just had Damian Priest and Dominic Mysterio. And not too far into the match, like a little while into the match, Dominic Mysterio, I think, swept AJ's leg and dropped him onto the apron, and that caused like a fight between the four managers, the four accompaniments, and they fought through the crowd, and they never came back to the match, so they left AJ and Finn one-on-one. I put this wasn't a bad match, but I actually watched this match, or tried to watch this match twice, and it didn't really hold my attention either time. This just didn't live up in my mind anyway to what these two are capable of. I think it was just a different type of match to what I was hoping for. Quite slow paced, and I don't know, just didn't do it for me, honestly. You know, nothing. Like I say, it wasn't a bad match. It just, I struggled to stay focused on it, which, you know, you could blame on my ADHD, but I didn't struggle to stay focused on other bits of the show. So maybe I had a blip, or maybe it was just not that great. Anyway, the finish came when AJ Styles forearmed Finn from the ring apron between the two rings, because obviously two rings are War Games. Finn stumbled back into the ring, and then AJ hit the phenomenal forearm for the win, for the pin. And I predicted that, as it's been an awful long time since AJ won on pay-per-view, and I thought now might be a good time to give him a win. So I'm now 1 from 2. And I think one of the big themes of this show in my predictions video was how uncertain I was of a lot of the results. But, you know, so I'm just glad to get anything right, honestly. But next they did a promo package. The first one I've seen, I don't know if they've been advertising it on Raw and SmackDown or what have you, for the Royal Rumble next year. So that's going to be, I think they said San Antonio, the last weekend in January, I believe. So yeah, that's going to be fun, as always. I think that as of now, what's announced, that's the next pay-per-view, right, or premium live event, I believe. So quite the gap if they're going to go with that. That's quite the gap. The next match, speaking of being uncertain about results, this was the one I was pretty certain on. This was the opposite of that. Ronda Rousey defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Shotzi. And I noted that Rousey and Baszler have gone like full heel mode during the build to this. And I asked in the... It was either the predictions or the match simulations video over on EBEZAsimsgames. I think it was over there, actually. What TCB on Shotzi's tank stands for. Apparently it stands for taking care of business. Still not sure what relevance that has, but there you go. We've got an answer. The commentators noted that Raquel Gonzalez, I can't remember which one's her main roster name and which one's her NXT name now, but Raquel is out with a broken elbow courtesy of Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and she'll be back in 4 to 6 weeks. Which is just superhuman. I looked it up, and just to return to like everyday activities, like I assume things like driving and stuff, from a broken elbow is 6 to 12 weeks, and she's going to be back wrestling in 4 to 6. So I know it's a kayfabe injury, but they could just do a bit of research on how long you expected to take to recover from an injury, you know. Yeah. Anyway, on to the match itself. There was nothing very fluid about this match. Lots of the spots felt very awkward. I just felt like these two didn't have any chemistry together, honestly, Rousey and Shotzi. I just didn't enjoy this match at all. Like the previous match, I said probably just wasn't for me, but it wasn't a bad match. This one felt kind of bad, honestly. Like, a highlight was Shayna Baszler pushing Rousey out of the way of a suicide dive. That came off well. There was a DDT where for some reason Shotzi fell over the top rope, but intentionally, to DDT Rousey onto the apron, but it was awful and it looked awful, and Rousey barely made any contact at all, but still tried to sell it. It just didn't look good, that spot. There was a spot where Shotzi crossbodied onto Rousey and Baszler in the crowd and wiped out 3 fans, which are obviously going to be plants. But yeah, it wasn't long after that. That was the last sort of major incident of the match, I think. Back in the ring, Rousey hit the Piper's Pit and locked on the armbar for the submission victory. That was a very predictable win. They're just building Rousey's reign up, you know, lengthening the reign, aren't they? You know, you can't just always have, you know, title changes. So, yeah, I predicted that one and went 2 out of 3. And was feeling pretty good about myself considering how unsure about a lot of this show I was. However, that would all change. Up next was Sami Zayn going to Roman Reigns, and you know, the follow-up from the Reigns and Jey Uso segment earlier. This was a really good segment. Zayn admitted that that Kevin Owens had spoken to him, told Reigns what Owens had said to him, and Reigns, you know, seemed to appreciate the honesty, and they played this one completely straight. There was no trying to make Reigns break from Sami in this one. There's no comedic element at all. They played this very much like Zayn really wanting to prove himself to Reigns, and Reigns genuinely doubting Sami. So, yeah, but in the end, it seemed like Zayn satisfied Reigns' suspicions, and Reigns gave him a hug. But then, the face from the thumbnail of this video, the sort of plotting sus face of Roman Reigns over Sami Zayn's shoulder when he couldn't see him because he was hugging him. So I put here, possibly wrong on prediction, maybe Bloodline win thanks to Zayn, then turn on him anyway. So I put that in my notes because I did predict the Bloodline to lose this one, probably because of Sami Zayn in some way, shape or form, inadvertent or otherwise. But yeah, so I did make that note, just worth knowing. But I'm sticking with my official predictions, by the way. That's not me trying to back out of my predictions video. My prediction is still a bloodline loss. Anyway, the next match, before we get to the men's War Games match with the bloodline, is the triple threat for the United States Championship. Lashley versus Theory versus Rollins. There was something weird went on, in my opinion. I don't think I've ever seen this before. They ran an ad on someone's Tron during an entrance. Austin Theory had the Beyblade advert on his Titantron instead of his entrance video for a while during his entrance, which I don't think I've ever seen before, and I don't know, I didn't like, but hey ho, what can you do? So this is the new focused Austin Theory. No selfies, no faffing around. He's all business now. And this was a really good triple threat with an interesting finish. I'm not going to go blow by blow on this match because there was a lot of... Everyone got their stuff in, you know, and did a good job in this match, and everyone had some interaction with each other. But the finish was particularly interesting. So Rollins had both Lashley and Theory down, and they were both sort of in position for a stomp, and Rollins decided to springboard off Theory's back and stomp Lashley, which was really good. Then Theory immediately popped up and grabbed Rollins and went to shove him out the ring, so it looked like it was going to be like, you know, one of those finishes to a triple threat where someone steals the win. But then Rollins reversed it and tried to throw Theory out, but then Theory held on and stayed on the apron, so they ended up battling, and they went up to the top rope eventually, and Rollins hit his superplex into Falcon Arrow combination on Theory. But as he had Theory up for the Falcon Arrow section of that, Lashley speared Rollins as he had Theory up in the air, and so Theory... This is the only downside to this finish. It was quite an interesting, innovative finish, in all honesty. But the only downside is Theory basically took a brainbuster from Rollins because of the spear, but because of how the finish was booked, immediately sort of recovered from that and rolled on top of Rollins and pinned him. While Lashley seemed to be more hurt from administering a spear than Theory was from taking an assisted brainbuster. So, yeah. But it was a good finish. It was a fun finish. And Theory pinned Rollins to win the United States Championship, which left me on 2 from 4 in my predictions, because I officially predicted Rollins. But I did say any of these 3 could win, and I could actually see them going with Theory as a bit of a swerve. Like, yeah, we just had him lose the cash-in. Is a bit of a mug, right? But no, then he wins, like, in a legit match. So, yeah, I did call it out loud, but my official prediction was Rollins, so I'm 2 from 4 at this point. Then there was another promo for the Royal Rumble. And then we had a Jey Uso Roman Reigns brief promo about Sami Zayn, but I have no idea what Reigns whispered. He was talking very softly. I know he talks quite softly and deliberately and quietly in this incarnation of Roman Reigns, but it was so quiet, like, I went back and tried to listen to it again and leaned right into my TV, and still, no idea. No idea what Reigns said. So if anyone knows what Roman Reigns said to Jey Uso in this promo, feel free to let me know in the comments. And up next was the men's War Games match. I liked Kevin Owens' tribute to Dusty Rhodes, obviously Dusty being a key element in the creation of the War Games concept. He had the red elbow pad and then had a Dusty Rhodes t-shirt on that it said Bionic Elbow, and he had his red elbow pad on. So Kevin Owens paying tribute to Dusty, lovely to see. I put here, Brawling Brutes is still almost as lame a name as Butch. I don't like the Pete Dunne name or renaming at all, but the stable name, Brawling Brutes, it's just rubbish. It's just lame. I don't know, it's just a rubbish name. I like the stable, I just, ugh. Anyway, yeah, and I didn't like the fact that when Pete Dunne was going to start the match, I almost corrected myself to Butch and I thought, no, it's Pete Dunne. But when he went to start the match, they acknowledged that this was his 4th War Games match. So they're acknowledging Pete Dunne's history, but not his name. And it just makes no sense to me. Just getting back to Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne can main event WrestleMania, Butch can't. Simple as. Just name value alone. Just doesn't make sense. And then I put down in my notes, surely Sami starts. Like, they want to test Sami Zayn's loyalty in this match. Send him in there. He's going to be a man down because the faces in this match had the advantage. So every time someone's outnumbered in this match, it'll be the heels, it'll be the Bloodline. So I thought they were definitely going to send Sami in first to be outnumbered and prove that he's willing to fight everyone on that other team. But no, Roman Reigns sent in Jey Uso, which was interesting. I find the faces having the numbers advantage in War Games odd anyway. Like, I know it's too predictable if you always have the heels in every single War Games match have the advantage, but it's just such a weird dynamic to have the heels have the sympathy on them, you know, for half the time and be outnumbered. It's, I don't know. I think there's certain situations where you can get away with it. I would personally have had the heels have the upper hand here, but they did something interesting with it, which was Reigns stopping Jimmy Uso going in second and making Sami go down and save Jey Uso from Ridge Holland and Pete Dunne. So yeah, they told an interesting enough story with it, but I still just disagree with the concept in general. I think the heels should just have the advantage all the time, really, or nearly all the time. This was a really good War Games match, though. There was some fascinating story threads throughout. There was Sami Zayn saving Jey Uso from moves, and Jey Uso still not accepting Sami. But the finish is where it all really came to a head and was really interesting. So Kevin Owens hit Reigns with the stunner and went for the pin, and Sami Zayn grabbed the referee's arm to prevent him count the 3. So then you had this stare off between Owens and Zayn. And then, they both got to their feet, and the jaw-jacking and going back and forth and arguing. And then, which Uso was it? I can't remember. One of the Usos went for a super kick on Owens. Owens caught the super kick, though. He saw it coming, caught it. And then Sami Zayn hit Kevin with a low blow. And then, after a little bit of delay in getting Roman Reigns' attention, hit Kevin Owens with the haluva kick in the corner. And then laid Owens out. Owens fell into Sami Zayn in a sort of, he's just caught his friend, he regrets what he's done kind of thing. Sami Zayn was showing lots of regret in this, especially after the low blow. But yeah, then he laid him down for Jey Uso to hit the splash and get the win on Kevin Owens, which is not what I predicted. I predicted the Bloodline to lose, but even if you'd have told me in advance the Bloodline were going to win, I would not have picked Jey Uso over Kevin Owens as the fall. So it was definitely interesting. But yeah, so Sami Zayn proved himself to the Bloodline. I proved myself to be terrible at predictions. And after the match, Reigns gave Zayn a hug, and then Jey Uso gave Sami Zayn a hug, which was like the bigger deal. Jey Uso accepting Sami Zayn into the Bloodline at last. So yeah, they went off the show. They went off the air with the Bloodline standing tall in the ring. This was a really good War Games match. I probably preferred this to the women's one. The women's one was by no means bad, but this one had so much story thread running through it, and that's what I really live for in wrestling, is that storytelling. And yeah, this was really good. The show overall, I thought was a good show. I didn't enjoy the women's title match at all, and I didn't enjoy Balor Styles, but everything else was really, really, really good. And I don't think Balor Styles was bad by any means. So overall, I'd say this was a good show. Not WWE's best offering in recent memory, but a good show. Overall, I enjoyed the show. Let me know what you thought of it in the comment section, what you agree with, what you disagree with about what I've said about this show. And leave a like if you enjoyed this video, subscribe if you're new here, and share with your friends if you think they would enjoy. But for now, all I have left to say is thank you very much for watching. As always, I've been EBEZA, you've been amazing, and I will see you next time.